Howdy-ho, and welcome back. If you missed the memo, today I'm going to be talking about Sara Faring's The 10th Girl. I know it's not the best picture, but the chance of me having a physical copy is slim to none. For one, with the libraries closed, you can't get your hands on something like that, although a number of them are doing curbside pickup. But two, I just can't afford to buy a physical copy of every single book that I either read or want to read. And additionally, I have actually switched over to audiobook. Reading, listening, how do you classify that? I don't know. But it's just been very hard to fit sitting down for however length of time and reading a book. And I find that an audiobook is just easier to fit into my life. They're not always that great. I haven't yet determined if it's because the narration is bad, if it's because the narration brings out the bad in a book, or just because the book is plain bad, but you get that whether you're reading a book or listening to it. On to the book! So, for you who don't know, this is a gothic mystery, and I love a mystery. I grew up reading, which I don't know if this is advisable, I don't know how I got away with it. I grew up reading Boxcar Children and Mary Higgins Clark, which if I was young enough to be reading Boxcar Children, I was not old enough to be reading Mary Higgins Clark, but my grandma read them, and they were at her house, and when we visited, she let me read them, and so we all know if grandma says it's okay, it's okay. So yeah, mystery's in my blood. And so I just had really high expectations for this book, because the premise was so intriguing. It did not meet expectations. I have mixed feelings about the book, because I did get to the end, and in the end, I found myself thinking, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. But I think I got to the 7th chapter before I gave up, because I just didn't care. And that's the kiss of death. Like, you want your reader to care. When you write a book, there's kind of some rules you need to follow. Have a great premise, have a great first opening chapters, and then keep the reader engaged. I found the prologue, which is kind of where they gave the backstory for the De Vaccaro school, which is where everything takes place. Spot on, it's really introducing the ghost aspect. And then the first chapter with there's two narrators. So the first chapter with Mavi, who her story takes place in the late 70s. Again, I was in it with her. And then they got to the second chapter, which was Angel, who is kind of this ghost-like character. And I was in it at first, because I was thinking he was one of the ghosts that's supposed to haunt the De Vaccaro school. But he doesn't fit into this late 70s vibe. He's a very modern character. And so I was questioning how these stories go together, how these two perspectives work. As a writer, I like to give everybody a little leeway, a little pinch of salt. And so I was like, well, I'll just keep reading and see what unfolds. And I just felt like the characters, outside of Mavi, Angel, and one of Mavi's co-workers, Yessie, they all just felt very flat. And I felt like the story was really slow, considering how not fast it was in the beginning, but how promising it was in the beginning. I just felt like Faring kind of was walking us through Mavi's day, and interspersing that with whatever was going on with Angel's perspective, because, it's kind of hard to explain, because he's in this modern-esque world, but he's not in a world, we get his backstory a little bit, we get, flashbacks and this, that, and the other, but he talks a lot about, this cloud house where his guide, his mentor lives, eating cheesesteaks. So it's like, how in the world does any of this have to do with the Devacado school and Mavi, because he kind of interacts with that scenario, but he's not in it. Anyways, so now that you're thoroughly confused, I will tell you the plot, right? So, the Devacado school is this elite boarding school in Patagonia, and it has just reopened after 60 years of being shut down because of some plague or pandemic that swept through. And so one of the descendants of the original owners is like, can I make it work again? So she brings Mavi in to teach English, and then I guess the two mysteries, in my opinion, one is for us, one is for Mavi, is who is Angel and who is the 10th girl? Because there's only 10 pupils in this school, and Mavi quickly notices that only 9 girls are there. And so, it's basically finding out who is the 10th girl, where is she? So that's kind of where the plot is going. Let's cut it off here. Let me tell you, if you don't want a spoiler, you need to leave. Because it's really hard to talk about this book without giving a spoiler, plus, I'm a lot of spoilers, so there you go. So the spoiler is, the whole thing's a video game. So Mavi is one of the characters in the game, and Angel is one of the players in the game. So the whole purpose of the video game is for somebody to figure out who the 10th girl is. And I don't know what happened, but so when I quit reading, I was still really intrigued by these two vastly different narrations. These vastly different narrators, I should say, not narrations, but narrators. I was intrigued to know why Faring did it that way, because the book is very well written. She does great world building. Then, because, I just wanted to have an answer to who the 10th girl was. How does the book end? I Googled, and I didn't find much. What I did find was mostly on Goodreads. They don't love spoilers like I do. So I couldn't find specifics. But what I did find was polarization regarding the twist, which is that it's a video game. And so I was like, I want to know what I think of the twist. So, I stopped at chapter 7. I think I fast forwarded. I skipped through to chapter 30. And I'm sure there's little things that I missed. But I didn't miss much, honestly. In those first 7 chapters, which I would have quit at 2, or technically 3, if I didn't want to give Faring the benefit of the doubt. I got what I needed. I got backstory, and I understood that there was something not right at this school. And then I get fast forward to the twist, and I'm like, all right, that's why things weren't right, and that's why I didn't understand why these narrators were so disparate. Even then, I was like, it's a video game? That's it? Like, I'm a girl. Girls don't care about video games. I did at one point. I got in so much trouble growing up because I wasted my time playing video games. But, so even someone with a background in enjoying video games, I was super let down, because you cannot go from a gothic mystery to this has all been virtual reality or something similar to it. It's actually, I think she coined it as an immersion game. So people come and play this game, and they essentially give up rights to their consciousness in order to be in the game. It kind of reminded me of Silent Hill, which I never played the video game. That was past my gamer days. But I did see the movie, which, holy crap, scared the crap out of me. And I know it's not really a video game scenario in the movie, but it's where real people come in and are part of this messed up world. And so, these people, it's not RPG. You don't take the role of somebody who's already there. You, in some ghost-like capacity, come in and try to solve the mystery of the 10th girl, and then a debauchery ensues because, I guess, spoiler and a half, Angel's mother was one of the creators of this video game. And she died. But she was kind of the heart of it, whereas her partner was the money man or woman of it. And once Angel's mother died, this partner kind of let havoc reign. Like, bad thing, these players, which is something I kind of missed because I didn't read those 23 intervening chapters. Somehow they are able to do bad things. I think it's because they can inhabit the body of other characters, and so they can have their way with whatever they want to have their way with. And so that is what Angel's not happy with, in addition to the fact that he thinks, he kind of falls in love with Mavi, but he's like, we need to stop this. This isn't right. They're learning and they're growing. They're not just a string of numbers. And of course, the co-creator, who has been sort of Angel's spiritual guide throughout this, although not really. I mean, Sharon sits in a cloud house eating cheesesteaks. Super crude. But Angel, I don't know, because they give up their consciousness. I don't really know how aware he is that he's in a video game until we get to that twist. But he feels that Sharon is the one friend he has in this world, the one person he can turn to for advice about, whatever. I mean, I missed that in those 23 chapters, but I don't feel like I missed anything. Anyways, so, he goes to Sharon, and Sharon's like, no, this game is wildly successful, and they're just numbers. Angel figures out a way to enable the characters to inhabit the bodies of the players, and then we're done. So it was, honestly, it's like two stories. The very beginning is, the first 30 chapters. The first 30 chapters are gothic mystery. The last 7 are virtual reality. So I can see why people don't like it. And it took me probably another 2 or 3 chapters to like it, I guess is a good way to put it. Like, I didn't love it, but I got used to it, and I said, all right, I get it. But I thought it could have stopped sooner as well. I thought, which, I don't know if people are going to agree with me, because it would have kind of been unresolved, but honestly, as soon as Angel learned it was a video game, I would have stopped there. But they just kept going and going and going and going and going, and then the book ended. And so I liked that she did explore a way to have a happy ending, but I was just like, is this gonna end? When am I gonna be done? And that's the other thing about audiobooks is you look at the time remaining and you're like, this is never gonna finish. Whereas when you have a physical copy, you can say, okay, that's how many pages I've left. The 10th Girl obviously did not meet my expectations. I would not reread it. I'd be open to reading something else by her just because it was well written. However, when it comes to recommending it, I would recommend it with a disclaimer. I would say kind of give it a shot. It's not weird necessarily, but it's not what you're used to. It's not what you're going to expect. If you want to skip the majority of the novel, I won't judge you. But, it's something I've never seen before. It reminded me of, Flintstones meeting the Jetsons, which, yes, I know there was a movie about them meeting the Jetsons. I'm that old. But, they worked because they were in the same place. This one, it's more like there's a barrier between them, and so they're together, but they're not together. So if you're into a writer trying something new, this could be the book for you. As far as being able to put it down, obviously, I was very willing and able to put it down. I am glad that I finished, that I got the end down, just because it was so interesting. Maybe not engaging, but interesting. It's food for thought if you're a writer and you're just like, okay, so look what she did. Can I do that? So the 10th Girl, I initially was agreeing with reviewers on Goodreads that I wish it had only been Mavi's perspective, but the book could not have been completed without Angel and his perspective. Like, you needed to know what was going on his side in order for the book to be completed, because otherwise you throw Angel in and you're like, this really is 2 books mashed together. We had 30 chapters of one book and 7 chapters of another. I still kind of would like to see what the book would have been like without Angel, just Mavi, and not the twist. Like, if she had just done the gothic mystery, I would love to see how that would have turned out. Or even, if they did have the twist, never having Angel there and just all of a sudden, I don't know, the pixels coming apart and Mavi's like, floating in cyberspace, and it's like, what in the world happened? Or I don't know. That's not my genre. I read it. I don't write it. But yeah, this one, it's a complicated book. I'm glad I read it because it's been on my TBR for a year, and the narration was good. Obviously, as I've said, well written, but I just could have put it down. I know this review was a bit different from Twilight, but, sometimes I just have different thoughts, different things to say. And besides, this one's not as widely read or just known about as Twilight, so I could go into the plot a bit more because you wouldn't know what it was. I'll see you next time, and have a great day!